Um, Welcome everyone to our monthly virtual forum. Today, we're thrilled to have a number of guests from around the world and looking forward to being with you all. I would remind you to mute yourself if you're joining us on Zoom and to follow along on Facebook and to share this with your friends and colleagues as you wish once we complete. Vicky, my colleague, our colleague, Vicky Jimenez, will be facilitating our conversation. And we're thrilled by the presenters that we have lined up. Unfortunately, because of weather and some technical issues in El Salvador, not everyone is going to be able to join us. So some folks will be filling in. But thank you again for being with us here on this hard to believe last Friday in January already. And I'll turn it over to Vicky at this time. Thanks again, everyone.
Thank you so much, Joe. So welcome, everyone. It's really good to see you. As some of you may know, on Tuesday of this week, so Tuesday, January 24th, we commemorated the International Education Day. And while talking to our colleagues in IPM, we had this idea of should we talk about formal or non-formal education? And we just thought it would be a great idea to have our international fellows and project partners join in and share their own perspectives on how they belong to either formal or non-formal education. However, just as Joe said, our Latin American project partner, who was Patronato Lidia Coyola, that was going to join us, won't be able to do so. However, my colleagues Zenaida, Adela, and myself will take over for them. And I also know my wonderful colleagues and the incredible international fellows from South Asia have prepared an amazing presentation as well. So I will let them, of course, go first. So Bindi, go ahead. Just before we begin, I would like to let you know. So a couple of days ago, we communicated with each of my colleagues, and we created some questions that our speakers will be responding today. So our first question was, is your project or is the fellowship related to a formal or non-formal education? The second question is, in your experience, how has education been impacted by COVID-19? Number 3 says, International Education Day was celebrated on Tuesday, January 24. This year, the theme for Education Day is titled, To Invest in People, Prioritize Education. What is your opinion on this topic? And number 4 says, the American author Martin Luther King believed that we could achieve something called the beloved community, and that to achieve it, it had to be built every day. In order to build this beloved community, he believed that people must build high levels of trust. We should avoid the fear of different people and have a permanent commitment to justice. And the main question is, do you think that the project or the fellowship does any of the things mentioned? If the answer is yes or no, how do they do it or why? So those are more or less the questions that our speakers will be answering today. So right now I will leave the floor to Bindia. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vicky. Hello, everyone. My name is Bindia, and I'm going to represent the IPM South Asia team today. We are going to talk about our work related to education today. And first of all, Himmat Bhai from Gujarat will be presenting. So over to you, Himmat.
Thank you, Bindia. So today our Friday forum, Vicky read questions. So our first question is your project related to formal and non-formal education? So my answer is yes. Our Bal Sanskar Kendra and Constitution Sala, Bandharan Sala is related to formal and non-formal education. Second, next, our next question is, in your experience, how was education being impacted by COVID-19? So we are not able to call children to the center for almost a year due to COVID-19. It affected the education so much that we had to restart the teaching process. Also, the kids is not able to read and write. And government of Gujarat, our government, they started, they, we call Priya Balaku, means dear children. And so this is very difficult. Many students, they drop out after COVID-19. Third question is, International Education Day was celebrated on Thursday, January. This year, the this year the theme for prioritize education. WhatsApp Ambedkar. His famous quote is to be educate, be organized, be aggregate. We believe that the quality of education can make or break the society. Next, please. Next, please.
Sorry, this is the fourth one.
Vicky, there are some photographs. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So fourth one, after 14 years ago, we started Pochabai Foundation, and we work with women's, kids, youth, and also we work with Dalit rights. And here, overall development of women's, youth, and children in 27 villages of Khambat, Tarapur, and Narmada district. In education related, we work with 700 and more than 700 children in our Bal Sanskar Kendra and Constitution Salas. 1700 women is joined with our 2 FPO, Farmers Producer Organization. They are members in our 2 FPOs. 200 farmers who does natural farming, and 300 youth are benefited through work of Pochabai Foundation. Also, we are working with so many areas and so many issues like water issues, Dalit rights. So, Pochabai Foundation is working in Khambat, Tarapur, and Narmada districts. Narmada is a tribal district, and we started work Narmada district also. So thank you for giving these opportunities.
Photos છે પાછળ એના વિશે વાત કરશો કે મારે કરવાની?
Okay. So here many photos, you see them photos that kids they use the teacher learning material and they learn in different group. So this is group activities. Here you show the photos for the students. They teach other students also. Next, please. photo.
Vicky, can you move to the next slide, please?
Okay.
So use show these photos. We organize women's meeting in village area. This is our Golana office, and here in one photos the women's, they make a hair oil, how to make hair oil. So our Francis by, they teach to women's how to make a hair oil. And in left side, right, photos for Francis by also. Now they teach to how to make a different type of manure and pesticide for the and for natural farming.
Do you need the next slide?
Yes. Next slide, please. Here, the youth training. So we are running computer center in Golana. So now 300 youth, Bindia take a responsibility and they teach computer also to youth. That lady, they give gender training to all youth and women also. Next slide, please. In village area, so our Bal Mitra,
1 minute.
they,
Apuru Patikan.
sorry.
Shahadat Janusha. Okay. Thank you, Ahmed Bhai. Now, Shahadat ji from Rajasthan would present his work with the poorest children in Rajasthan. Shahadat ji, आप अनम्यूट करके अभी बता सकते हैं. हेलो. हेलो. शहादत जी, आप सुन पा रहे हैं?
It shows that Shahadat has joined us, but I'm not sure that his connection is allowing any volume or voice.
Yes, Elsa, I'll just need a minute to call him.
Sure.
And then I can reconnect, yeah?
Mhm.
So while we wait for Shahada to communicate, I would also like to give you the great news that Martita has been able to join us after a lot of struggle. Martita, ¿nos escucha?
Yay.
Sí, sí, hola, mucho gusto. Buenos días.
Ay, ya vimos. Gracias, Martita. Qué bueno que logramos, que logró la conexión. Ahorita mis compañeros de la India están contactándose igual con uno de los proyectos de allá porque también estamos teniendo problemas de conexión allá. Así que solo sería que él termine esta parte de su presentación y luego irían ustedes. Gloria a usted. Oye,
está
pero
bien.
gracias porque ahí nos hizo el esfuerzo.
Costó un poquito, pero aquí estamos ya.
Perfecto, muchas gracias. And I also see that Senia is here with us. So, hola, Senia. And thank you, everyone. I was just giving the...
Hola, buenos días, mucho gusto de verlo.
Hola,
Gracias, Zenia.
Hola.
Zenia saying, she's happy to see everyone. Okay, so I see Bindia is back. Are we good to go, Bindia?
Vicky, is that okay if we take the Latin America team, I mean the other group now? Shadji is recording a message, he is not able to really present right now. So he said he'll record a voice note and share.
No,
So we
of
can
course.
present it, I guess.
Yeah, of course we
Yeah,
can.
thank
Of
you.
course. I understand, of course. Thank you. Bueno, Martita, pues vamos a empezar ahorita con ustedes porque nuestro otro compañero de India pues siguió fallando su conexión y cuando usted termine va a empezar él entonces. Yo voy a traducirle a usted, así que ahí podemos empezar. Ellos ya leyeron ya saben las preguntas, así que puede empezar cuando usted se sienta cómodo.
Vaya, muchas gracias. Muy buenos días, pues primeramente, ¿verdad? Qué alegría de podernos conectar, por eso la señal está bien complicada en esta zona. Entonces, un gusto que estemos aquí conversando. Quizás introducir un poco en la primera pregunta, ¿verdad? Sobre nuestra institución como una educación formal que se desarrolla con la educación parvularia con los niños y niñas. Es una educación formal porque trabajamos con lo que son programas del Ministerio de Educación según los intereses y las habilidades de los niños y las niñas.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, everyone, and hi. It's so nice seeing you. And the connection has been really, really difficult, so I'm very relieved and happy to see you all. Thank you so much for having me. And well, I think I'll start with introducing the first question. And it asks if we believe our project responds to formal or non-formal education. I believe it responds to formal education because we work with children that are in initial education. So we have to work with governmental, with the lines that the Ministry of Education gives us.
Nuestra institución se centra más que todo en la educación parvularia porque sabemos que la educación parvularia es una etapa muy crucial para el desarrollo en las habilidades, el desarrollo emocional, el desarrollo físico en los niños y las niñas. Entonces sabemos que es ahí donde se sientan las bases, ¿verdad? Donde los niños aprenden, donde los niños están interactuando con la familia, con la institución y con los amigos. Entonces por eso la educación parvularia es un momento, se puede decir, muy crucial para que los niños se desarrollen, tanto afectiva, desarrollo psicomotriz y el desarrollo cognitivo, que es tan importante en las diferentes áreas.
And we work in the initial development of the child. So we work with ages 4 to 6. And because this is a crucial moment for people to be developed. So we make the best effort to develop them not only in academics, but also, in the cognitive area, the motor area, and also emotionally.
Con los niños es bonito trabajar, ¿verdad? Porque los niños prácticamente nos muestran su cariño, su afecto, y es una parte tan emocionante, por decirlo así, porque los niños son bien sensatos, los niños tienen su forma de pensar, su forma de ser, y quizás nosotros, como decirlo, volvernos niñas, ¿verdad? Porque no trabajamos según el interés de nosotros, sino que el interés cabal de los niños, viendo las necesidades y haciéndole conciencia más que todo a los padres de familia, las madres, más que todo, que son las que están pendientes de ellos, de que la importancia de la educación parvularia, pues, o sea, es un desarrollo prácticamente completo. Y ellas bien cabal lo saben, a través de las escuelas pedagógicas nosotros les explicamos lo importante que es.
I really enjoy working with children. I think it's so beautiful because they are such loving and caring, and they are very wise in their own ways. And it's like we, and Lisa Madden, by we she means her and her colleagues, we have to become children again. And when we're with them, it's not about us, it's about the necessities of the children. And this is something we also try to translate or to communicate to the parents, most especially the mothers, because they are the ones that are more or less more on top of the education of the children. And we have something called the parents school, where we try to reinforce in the parents the importance of education for their children.
En los niños hay muchas etapas de desarrollo, ¿verdad? Y creo que las mamás las conocen. Se trabaja lo que es la expresión, el entorno, la naturaleza, los niños como sujetos y muchas áreas donde ellos experimentan con el juego. También ellos aprenden diferentes experiencias que son muy significativas tanto para ellos, y también el socializar con los compañeros, que ayuda mucho a la parte de la socialización.
So to each parent, we try to, again, make them understand why this education is important. And again, it's not only because of the academics part, but the kids gain so much from being here. And an important part of that is that they get to socialize with other kids as well.
Como dice, se ha visto impactada la educación debido al COVID-19. Fíjense de que fue un gran impacto, más que todo para la mamá, y depende cómo lo transmitió la mamá al niño. Entonces ahí se infundió mucho que lo que es el miedo, muchos aspectos que prácticamente dieron un paso atrás en lo que es el desarrollo de los niños. Entonces la educación así, el Ministerio de Educación habilitó las páginas para poder trabajar virtual, ¿verdad? Pero creo que todas las profesoras que trabajamos en educación parvularia no lo vimos muy bien, porque los niños prácticamente aprenden junto con otros compañeros. Entonces, fue un gran problema, se podría decir así, porque los niños venían, cuando ya se insertaron a la escuela, ya a las aulas, ya presencial, se miraban muchas deficiencias, porque a veces las mamás quieren trabajar con ellos, pero no tienen, como decirle, como las estrategias para poderlo hacer, como la forma correcta. Entonces, eso impactó mucho, grande en los niños y las niñas también.
So now I'll refer to question number 2, and it's how COVID impacted education. I feel that COVID made a huge impact in education, especially because, well, she said especially not only on the children, but also on their parents, and more specifically on their mothers. We saw how the children's development was affected. Well, here, the government decided that we should go virtual. And the thing is, for us, teachers of children from ages 4 to 6, it's quite difficult to perform the job that we do in a virtual way. It's not exactly the same. And when we returned to being present in the classroom, we could see how all of these children were a little bit more behind that they should be on their development, because usually the mothers, which was who they spend more time with, wouldn't know the most appropriate way of how to teach them certain things.
Y prácticamente poco a poco se ha venido como insertando a los niños, quizás en el 2021, que fue un año que costó un poco, porque como los niños ya venían con ese temor, algunos indicadores no los habían logrado, entonces había que trabajar en eso, volverlos como a insertar nuevamente. Y prácticamente es bien difícil porque a los niños, a las mamás a veces no les hacen caso prácticamente, cuando dicen, no sos mi profesora, dice, o yo quiero ir al kinder, ¿y por qué? O sea, a los niños les impactó mucho porque dice, ¿y por qué no voy al kinder? Los niños no entendían, o sea, ellos no entendían lo que pasaba en la realidad que estábamos viviendo, pero ellos lo que decían es, ¿por qué no venían al kinder? ¿Por qué no se hacían presentes? Ellos querían tener sus amigos y todo, entonces prácticamente fue, y quizás en todas las áreas educativas, de los niveles educativos, de mucho impacto.
We feel that 2021 was particularly difficult for education. We could see how little by little we had to readapt the children to what they were used to from 2020. And we could see that some children were scared of coming back. We also saw that most of the children didn't achieve the certain indicators that needed to be achieved for their age or for their class. And we also saw that children didn't respond to their parents or to their mothers who were trying to perform as the teachers in the same ways that they would respond to us, because for the child, the mother is their mother. It's not their teacher. And they also wanted so bad, and they craved for that social interaction with their peers that they didn't have. They would constantly question their mothers and their parents overall, or their caretakers, as to why couldn't they go to their kindergarten? Why couldn't they be at the patronato? Because they didn't really understood what was going on. And all of these effects that we were seeing in children in the patronato were not just here, and were not just for initial education. You could see that in elementary school and in high school as well.
Y en la educación parvularia se evalúa mucho lo que son los indicadores de logro, más que todo así como los indicadores, como que si el niño lo que puede hacer, por ejemplo, lanzar con una pelota, patear la pelota, pegarle al bate, reconocer el género femenino y masculino. Entonces, para evaluar era bien difícil en ese momento porque no nos garantizaba, nos mandaban videos, nos mandaban algunos trabajos que hacían, pero no nos garantizaba que ellos lo hicieran. Entonces, no podíamos medir eso del aprendizaje, no se podía medir porque uno lo evalúa a través de la observación que tanto el niño hace en el aula, pero ya así es bien difícil. Entonces, creo que a todas las profesoras nos tocó lo mismo, de que no podíamos evaluar prácticamente algunas áreas porque no observábamos, pues, porque en la educación parvularia un mecanismo de evaluación tan eficiente es la observación.
Part of why our job became so difficult during the pandemic, especially during lockdown, was because these indicators that the kids need to achieve are mostly based on a process of observation from our end as teachers. So while we couldn't be there being witness of the process of the children, we couldn't really tell if they were actually achieving or on the way of achieving these goals or not. So that's why a lot of kids fell behind or were not able to get these goals, and we were not able to be witness of that process, so we couldn't say or advocate for them and say they did.
Se celebró el Día Internacional de la Educación, ¿verdad? El martes 21 de enero, con el lema que dice: la educación se titula invertirla en la gente, hay que priorizar en la educación, dice. O sea, ¿por qué dice priorizar en la educación? Porque una persona educada tiene más posibilidades, abre más puertas, tiene más oportunidades de insertarse al medio, es más suelta en la expresión y tiene, como decirlo así, oportunidades de trabajo para la vida.
So now we'll refer to the third question, which is in regards to the topic of the International Day of Education, that says to prioritize to invest in people, you have to prioritize in education. And she says that for her, this is actually an interesting perspective, because yes, you need to give the children from a very early point in life the abilities to succeed in life later. You need to give them those tools.
Por eso dice, la educación es una buena inversión, decían los abuelitos antes que la mejor herencia era la educación, decía. Entonces, y prácticamente tienen mucha razón, porque el ser humano, una persona educada, es una persona más consciente de la realidad, sabe cómo desempeñar un cargo, tiene más oportunidades de poderse insertar a lo que es la sociedad. Entonces, por eso dice de que sí, la inversión en educación es una prioridad.
And I recall this saying that the elderly in El Salvador would have, that is that education is the best investment. So I believe that's true, that education is what will make you a better person throughout the course of your life, and it's something that will forever change you.
Hablando de Martin Luther King, decía él sobre la amada comunidad. Entonces, quizás para comenzar es la amada familia, porque todos los valores, todas las actitudes, todas las formas de comportamiento se adquieren en lo que es la familia. Entonces, la familia toma un rol muy protagónico en lo que es la educación. De ahí vienen todas los demás componentes, se podría decir así, que ayudan, que son las instituciones. Si un niño prácticamente le enseñan lo que es la empatía en casa, el niño va a demostrar esas acciones en el kinder o en el lugar donde él se desenvuelve. Entonces, la familia, con la mamá y el papá, el rol de la familia es muy importante para la educación.
I would also like to point out the importance the important role that the family and the parents play, or the caretakers play, in the life of children, because we do get to see how each family is here in the classroom, and we believe that family is actually the first place where you are educated, and where you're raised will also somehow be determinant for how we're going to behave in the classroom or at school or at church. So we also make a big emphasis in, the role that the family plays in the child's education.
De ahí viene lo que es la comunidad, que es donde el niño se inserta, lo que es la forma de expresión junto con los compañeros, que la comunidad juega un rol también importante, porque si los niños fomentan valores y acciones positivas en la casa, esa es una réplica para los compañeros, para el personal, para todas las familias en donde con todas las familias que se comunican. Entonces, ahí es donde se forman. Por eso dice la amada comunidad, o sea, insertarnos a un ambiente que sea estimulante prácticamente para el niño y la niña.
Now, in regards to the fourth question, talking about the beloved community, I also think that's something that builds a child. That's also something that educates a child. And I believe it's called the beloved community because it's what will make you be in connection and be aware of what is going through in your surroundings.
Por eso es bien importante la formación de padres y madres, porque pues sí, no están, como decirles, nulos en el saber, ¿verdad? Cómo orientar, cómo educar a un niño, porque siempre con el amor, el cariño, el aprecio, ¿verdad? Si este niño crece en un ambiente así de bonito, pues en la casa, entonces eso es lo que él va a ir a replicar. O sea, si hay problemas o maltrato en la casa, entonces el niño está apto para imitar esas conductas en el medio donde él se desarrolla. Y por eso hacen énfasis en una ley que está ahorita muy vigente, lo que es la ley Crecer Juntos, donde todas las instituciones juegan un rol, lo que es la salud, la educación, la familia, los ministerios, ¿verdad? De salud, las alcaldías. Entonces, todo eso tiene que estar, no desconocer el tema de educación parvularia, sino que insertarse y conocer todos los mecanismos de que ellos tienen que participar para que los niños puedan desarrollarse en un ámbito, en un área donde se sienta bien, pues.
And also in regards to the beloved community, that's also why we talk about family. And right now, Martita is also referring to a Salvadoran law that was created I think it was last year or the year before. These I'm just reinterpreting from what she said. This law is called Growing Up Together. Or being raised together, and she was referring that what is behind or what should be behind the sense of this law, it's having all institutions, formal and non-formal institutions, involved in the education and in raising the children. That's what's going to make a good person in the end.
Aquí en el kinder nosotros trabajamos con 25 a veces, 25 niños y niñas a veces, entonces son espacios, las mamás no confían tanto en el trabajo, a veces ellas participan, las involucramos para que vayan reconociendo el rol que tienen como madres. A veces se han escuchado las expresiones que dicen las mamás, yo no sabía, dice, mi niño mayor fue el que más sufrió, dice, pero en realidad las mamás siempre tienen que estar en formaciones para poder saber. Y pues sí, si tienen bajo nivel educativo, porque sí, la mayoría acá no ha estudiado mucho, pero eso no les limita para que los niños, para que puedan dar una mejor educación a los niños. Entonces, por eso es bien importante desarrollar temas con ellos y a veces anécdotas de lo que ella les ha pasado. Entonces, así se trabaja en el kinder.
To us, it's important to involve the family, and I say this in the sense of having them also as part of that community. In the case of El Patronato, most of the parents are not educated. They don't have a formal education, so it becomes very difficult for them to support the children, even while they're going through the first steps of their formal education. And you can hear how parents say that they don't know what their children are studying, or they don't know that their first child had it so difficult, because later it's that first child that will help the following kids. So that's what they try to always engage the parents as much as possible, not only for the importance of education, but also to create that sense of community, and that they can also gain an education from what their children are learning. Gracias, Martita. Creo que por ahorita lo vamos a dejar hasta ahí, porque todavía nos falta que agreguen nuestros compañeros de India, de Asia. Pero, ay, Martita, de verdad le agradezco muchísimo, de verdad. Y
gracias a ustedes.
Me puede quedar acá todavía un ratito. Muchas gracias.
Bueno, gracias a ustedes.
Everyone, thank you. That was Martita's presentation. And I see my colleague Bindia now is on screen. So I will share the presentation again, so we can continue with the part of South Asia.
Thank you so much, Vicky. I'll just take a minute if Shahadji can speak himself. Otherwise, we'll play the audio note. Shahadji, आप बोल पाएंगे कुछ अभी? अनम्यूट करके ट्राई कर लीजिए एक बार, अगर होता है तो ठीक है, वरना हम प्ले कर देंगे वो वॉइस नोट आपका. हेलो. Vicky, I think we can go ahead with the voice note first, because I can't hear anything from him.
Okay, of course.
My approach of education to slum children.
Can you hear that? No?
We can hear that, but it's slight disturbing. I mean, not exactly very clear. But you can play it first, not a problem. Maybe we can add once it is done.
If you want, just let me check something. Maybe I can play it from the computer by WhatsApp. That way you can all maybe hear
It will be better, I guess. Yeah.
better. Just a second. Mhm. Okay. So I'm sorry. Mhm. Okay. And you should be able to listen.
My approach of education to slum
Yes, can you listen to that? Perfect.
children is totally scientific way. I don't want to involve religions and other things. I would like to try my best to give scientific education to children by practical, by action oriented, and I try to my best to kids understand the human values and constitutional values. Our constitution is the biggest constitution in this world, and we have a we have a we have a equal rights if we compare to India. In Jammu Kashmir to Rajasthan, in desert, geographical demo is totally different, and that's rights give us strength to us, and by by sports and by dance and by other things, my slum childrens, they wanted to establish in mainstream, and spiritually values is very important for the kids, for sure, slum childrens and childrens, and they can aware, they can aware, and then they can establish as a happy world in in future. This time is very critical times for political views, socially views, and religious view. We don't know where India is going on. So that's why the only constitutional values and rights save India. And I think the children, kids and youngs, they can, if they can understand, maybe our country will survive for at least values, human rights values, and be human rights values and educational values, that things.
I think those were the two audios. Yes.
Right. Vicky, can we go to the first photo? Yeah, of Shahadat's. Yeah, thank you. So I think a short but a very meaningful message from Shahadatji. I would just like to add something through these photos which he has shared with us. So he works totally in 4 different places in Rajasthan. And just to make it more clearer, he works with the poorest children who are from slum area of Jaipur. We really, I mean, at one point of time, we got a chance to meet Shahadatji and their children. And it's really amazing. I mean, we couldn't even imagine that thing. Once we got a chance and we got into a discussion, we asked them what are, like Shahadatji asked them, what is their favorite meal of the day? Or like, what do they like the best thing to eat? And one of the youngest one said that she loves dal rice. So that's the simplest dish one can ever imagine of. And that was her favorite dish. So you can imagine what exposure or what the available resources would be for those children. Next slide, Vicky. And he teaches around 100 kids in 4 different places. Those are Parva School, VDN, Under the Bridge 22, and Bharat Nagar. And you can see both in both the photographs, he distributes fruits and eggs every week to all those children, and that is supported by IPM. Next slide, please. Okay, so as I said, all the children are from slum areas of Jaipur whose parents cannot afford sending them to schools. And all these children come here, Shahadatji teach them, prepare them for school, and then helps them with the admission also. And I mean, I don't really remember the name, but one of the children could make to IIT, which is the best institute for technology, Indian Institute of Technology in India, which is no less than a great achievement for somebody like a slum child. Next slide, please. Okay, so as he said, he teaches different subjects, including general knowledge, human values, and constitutional values. And as I've met him personally, I know he's not just the formal teacher kind of person. He talks more about meditation, what is the universal truth, what is God, and he says nature is God. It's not any particular religion or any particular, it's not either Muslim, either Christian or anything. It's just God, who is the nature, who has give us birth and who helps us survive throughout the life. Yeah, I think there are some photographs in the last photo. You can see where we like Mahesh Bhai, me, Tara, Dakshaben, Vanitaben, and Jignesh. These are all from our team who got a chance to visit them, and we were really happy to meet their children. And they performed really good dance performances. Maybe some point of time we will be able to share that video, but it was really nice time. So I think that is good enough from this group. Thank you so much. And thank you, Vicky. It's over to you.
No, thank you, Bindia, and thank you to Shahadat as well. We know this morning has been quite challenging for every single region. So thank you so much for your efforts. You, to Hima, to Shahadat, to Mahesh as well, that I know also had some challenges to be here today. I also want to say thank you to Martita and to my colleagues Neira and Adela, who were also getting ready, you know, behind the scenes in case Martita was not able to join us. Also, thank you to Ilse for always making such a huge effort in putting this live. Thank you, Sony. I know it's quite late there, and sometimes also signal does not work, as well as Fulmari, who had joined us earlier, but again, currently technology didn't want us to be together, but we made it through. So I would like to be respectful of everyone's time for this forum. So again, I just want to say thank you to each of the presenters. Thank you so much. I think Joe wants to add something as well.
Yeah, I would just want to thank you all again. It's wonderful to be with you and to see everyone after some time away. I hope that this new year continues to treat you well, and that the peace that passes all understanding continues to lighten your days. Take good care, everyone, and stay safe. Nos vemos, Zenia.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye, and have a nice day. Thank you.